Thank you for joining. Oh, hello from Canada. Hi, Ken. Yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from. It's always so good to see where everybody's from and how many countries we have represented in our calls. Welcome to Deep Funding Town Hall number 31. It is April 25th. And for all of you who don't know what Deep Funding Town Hall is, because I do see a lot of unfamiliar names and new faces. Deep Funding is SingularityNET's grant program, which funds AI builders to build AI services that support the growth of the SingularityNET marketplace. And in Deep Funding Town Hall, we discuss a lot of things around governance for the Deep Funding program. And today, actually, we are going to discuss the proposal writing and submitting process for Deep Funding Round 4. So Deep Funding Round 4 is our current funding round. And there's a few new, I guess, rules. And there's also a lot of old regular rules. But for everyone who is planning on submitting a proposal, this is the place to be. You're in the right place. Rafael, the Deep Funding Manager of Operations, is going to give us an overview today of the proposal writing process, the best practices, and a few tips on how you can get your proposal seen and noticed by the community. That being said, I'm probably going to hand it over to Rafael.
Yep, thank you. Thank you very much, Judith, for the introduction, also introducing a Deep Funding program. And as you've heard, we are in our round 4. So pretty in the beginning of this program initiative, but we've already a lot of successes that we can showcase. So it's important for you also, we can consider this even the first insight for a good proposal, right? Is to be to get to know these projects and proposals that were awarded and approved. And that we're able to successfully onboard in our community. You can also follow our newsletter, so go to our website and then you can subscribe for it. It's good to be in contact with what's happening in Deep Funding in general, but also we are going to use the newsletter as a good channel to keep you posted on what is going on, okay? For today, we are going to talk a bit about this process of proposing, how you can do it, some hints from our side as well on how to do it properly. And we are going to give the word also the stage to two very well successful proposers during the previous rounds that can give you more insights and their perspective on the process. I would like to start thanking as well Ken and Kenrick that are here to do this part of the presentation, let's call it. And after this, we can have a Q&A where we are going to be open to receive your questions, if any, and answer them well under our capabilities. Okay, so thank you all for being here. I really appreciate, and hopefully we are going to have a Deep Funding Round 4 even greater than the previous rounds. So let me check if I can share my screen. Share screen as I can. That's amazing. Let's put. So I believe you can all see my my screen, right? The Deep Funding website. It's important to show to you for those that are not quite used to. This is our portal. As I mentioned, we have this beautiful new timer here where you can check for the next steps of and how long it will take for the next step to happen in the schedule. And I would love to start jumping exactly to our schedule here, where we started from last Monday, this preparation period. So you can come to the website, you can sign up, then log in, and start, well, getting to know the platform itself, the proposal submission platform, checking if it has any kind of curiosity or things that you are willing to understand. Then you can get back to us via email, contact form, Telegram, or Mattermost, which is our main contact way, and ask any questions that you have towards that. This preparation period doesn't have an end per se, right? Because during the submission period, you can always be there and doing the same process, but you can't submit. The submissions will start on next Monday. We are talking about April 29, and then we have an open mic. Yeah, thank you. So we are going to start in the submission period on April 29, and this period will take 3 weeks. So you have 1 week of preparation and 3 weeks that you can submit with showing your proposal and to the board. Okay. After that, we start the review period where you are going to be, your proposals are going to be reviewed in 2 dimensions. One more objective, we are going to go through as well, where the eligibility review team will be able to check if you are complying with the requirements needed to be in proposing. And the other review that we are going to have is the review from the community experts. The community experts are formed by the awarded team members and top contributors from the previous rounds. Contributors are those that comment in the proposals, make good comments and improve those proposals. So they are not saying the eligibility reviews are going to give thumbs up or not for your project to go to the next stage, which is the voting period. So they have a decisory role here. The community experts, they have a more under an assessment or evaluation of your proposal. And if it's a good proposal, we are going to make a recommendation for voters to go and vote for your proposal. Okay, we are also going through this later. The voting period, it's going to take a week, as you can see, and we are going to have a week later to concatenate everything, announce the winners or awarded proposals, and make in the upcoming weeks the onboarding process with contracts and etc. etc. Okay, for the vote, guys, your proposal has to have at least 6.5 score in the voting. Okay, and it also has to have at least 1% of the votes casted in the voting process. Otherwise, if you only have one of these, you are not going to be awarded. Okay, and of course, if you have this, we have to compare your budget and see if it's fitting the amount that is rested for you guys. Okay, just to clarify this part, if we have a budget total amount in a pool of 100,000 and the proposals that came before yours that went higher than yours in scoring already consumed $90,000 and your proposal is of $20,000, so you doesn't fit in that $10,000. So we are going to go to the next one that has that amount or less. Okay, it's good to make it clear now because we had situations where teams were willing to know why they weren't choose. So important thing. Okay, going forward, we have here then the schedule. Please also come to the rules here, the rules and guidelines of the Deep Funding program. We had last week another town hall where I went through the rules with the awards, which is $1,520,000 US dollars in AGIX. We have max amounts per pools and the pools here. So please go there if you have any kind of doubt, or refer to the links that the Marketing Circle shared before with the presentation for the rules and minor issues. Okay. For the proposal itself, how should we go with? I believe you are still seeing my screen here, right? In rules and guidelines. I didn't started talking with another screen. Okay. So first, sign up. Okay. You are going to have a username, which is going to be public, first name and last name, optional, emails and passwords. It's all explained here. You can also sign up with your Google account, okay, that it's connected. Then after you created your account, you are going to come to this screen here for login. We are waiting a moment. Yep. And this is the so-called your projects page, where you are going to add and edit your proposals, okay? But you are also going to be able to edit your profile. And I want to go there for one reason. First, it's very important and many people don't take that much attention. Of course, add your photo, your username as well. Here you can have your headline or title. Why that's important? This platform, this portal is going to evolve to something bigger in the future, where we are going to use the data from here to connect people. So you might have a proposal and you are looking for a project manager, for instance. So this is somewhere where you are going to be able to find the good fit for your proposal and invite and discuss with them about the participation, right? So here you can put your bio, your experience, and also your LinkedIn profile URL. So it's good to keep it up to date, but also and mainly for another reason, which is the reviewers and the voters, they are going to be willing to know who is the team that is delivering or proposing to deliver this solution. So if you deliver more information on you and your team, you are going to be more successful, considering you are going to have more overlapping skills and background on what you are proposing, okay? So this is very important for you to assess, under your planning. Also here, you can also put your wallet collection ID here. As you know, we are rewarding contributors as well. So having this is very important to do this bridge, okay? So you can connect your wallet here, or well, inform your wallet address. Remember, AGIX in Cardano network, okay? That's very important. Security, regular things, and notification as well, as we are willing to keep this communication open between the parties. So you can also come here. I would suggest, another hint, I would suggest for you to leave it all enabled for you to be on top of what's going on with your proposal and being able to quickly reassign or do differently. Okay, getting back here to our your projects. Yes. Okay, so that being said, we have here, and then you can have active projects that you are leading, projects that you are a team member, and not public projects. That means those that you are just waiting for the right moment, or that you need more development before you put them online. Okay. Add your proposal here. One thing to do a remark for those that weren't, and also for those that were here before in previous rounds, we used to use another platform to do this. It was a platform that was more generic because it would attend plenty of programs, but for our program, we have specificities. We have some singular things that we are requiring from proposers. So our team, led by Jan Horlings, get to bring to this portal the best features that we can have when proposing for a deep funding round. Okay, so the platform will take you very slowly and smoothly, not slowly, but smoothly into the process where you are going to be able to understand pretty much everything that you have to do. And it's very important, even for those fields that are not mandatory, please give some attention. From previous experiences, the more you make clarifications on your proposal, the greatest are your chances of winning. Okay, proposal round, of course, we only have at this point the round 4, but we are willing to have in the future multiple situations happening. The proposal name, where you can put the proposal name, 50 characters. Summary description, this is very important. For instance, much of the reviews are going to rely on the summary description as well. So be attentive to do a very good summary here. Imagine, last time we had 143 proposals being submitted. Okay, more than 140. Each voter, if each voter would have to go through the whole package of proposals, wouldn't be feasible, right? This way, you are going to tell them, hey, my proposal is this, my proposal is good, so take your time to go through the rest of it. So very important to do a good summary here. Proposal profile image is optional, but I would advise you to also do that. I'm going to do that always. I'm not even sure if I'm not already in the 4th test to give the name here when testing, but you got the situation and we can continue. If I don't put it there, it's going to stop because it's a requirement. Okay. Selecting funding pool. As I mentioned, we discussed it before in last week about the pools. If you still don't know about it, go to the our rules page. You are going to have everything described there. But for instance, we have new projects with a total funding of $1 million US, and each proposal can go as high as $150,000, okay, US dollars. If you, again, need something further, you can come here in the information button, designed to populate the decentralized AI platform, and so on, okay? So it's pretty much self-explanatory. And you can, well, delve into it. For this particular simulation or go-through that we are working here, I'm going to pick the new project. Why? Because the new project is the one that has most variants or more elaborate things when proposing. So I am willing to go through it. But believe me when I say the others are pretty much the same process with different features, okay? Funding request amount, so you can put until 150. I'm going to choose here 100,000. It's optional as well. The company name, we have here Test Inc. Then it's required for your new proposal to impact the growth of the AI platform of SingularityNET. That's why we have the deep funding program, right? If you are not related to the program itself, the SNET core purpose, it's not for us to fund you. It's not a conventional venture capital where, oh, this project here will bring me a lot of profit, but doesn't make the platform grow. So it's not something that we are going to fund. Okay, so this type of alignments are important to have when proposing. Again, we are going to test the core problem you are aiming to solve. Hold over your mouse over it, and then you are going to have the explanation again. Okay, so short descriptions are always welcome, and all possible descriptions that you can do it. So it's a huge volume with a small contributions, or with the small explanations there. Okay. The solution itself tell us what you are doing here, okay, in order for you to be awarded. Optional is the long description. Now you can go as long and be as prolific as you are willing to. And remember, our voters, especially for the new projects, I mean, if you are willing to propose here or in the RFP, which are more technical, our proposals are they have many backgrounds, including business or arts or whatever. So try to be as concise, but also very down the earth, let's call it like this, okay, when you are proposing. If you start to be too technical, you might explain your project nicely for technical purposes, but perhaps some people won't understand and therefore won't vote and select your proposal. Okay, but here in the long description, you have the place to be more prolific in that technical way. But remember, the summary, the short description, the problem, and what you are doing to solve, do that in a better way. Okay, the team itself, go there, describe, make a better description of your team, and tell why you believe your team is going to thrive. Okay, I almost skipped here. Competition and unique sales proposition. Okay, that's a marketing term that we should even write in complete. Did you do any market research? If yes, here. Why this is important? Remember, you are going to onboard a new project in a marketplace. You have to know your audience or your market target public, right? Otherwise, you might be developing something that nobody wants. So by having this, even though it's not mandatory, it's optional, you can get more votes than those that doesn't have the market research, because you are going to have a lot of API calls or do a lot of API calls from the from other solutions onboarded in the platform. So just to check, I'm not skipping anything. You have here as well. Needed resources. Are you in need of any missing roles in your team or other resources besides funding? If yes, please describe here. Perhaps if you need something, someone to develop a specific AI feature, you are going to tell here. And then when people are reviewing your proposal, they can say, oh, I like this proposal and I can also contribute to it, and they will reach you out, okay? Or perhaps our team can say, we have someone that can support this team here. Perhaps it's a good option, okay? Let's put it also as test. Will you be leveraging any existing tech or other resources of your own that do not require funding? So imagine that you already have a solution, but you are willing to make it AI prone, or you are willing basically to onboard it in the marketplace to take advantage of our benefits. Here is the case, right? So, I already have a lot of features developed and created. So I only need resources for this part that I am willing to develop. Describe this here as well as an existing resources. This is good because you are also improving your chances in winning and being awarded, because people are going to say, they are already in the market, they already have something, they have knowledge when delivering some parts at least, so I'm going to vote for them. If you don't have it, no, it's not a problem. Actually, most of the proposals, awarded proposals, come from this background of not having a previous product or service, but they are still awarded when put into vote, okay? Another test here. Open source licensing, it's optional as well. So the product is not open sourced. You are going to be owner of your own thing, or you have, for instance, the MIT license, okay? Then you are going to put here, because it is open source. This is very good as well for voting, because people are more willing to vote and give fundings to those that are open source, because it's going to be open to the world, of course. And you can, again, come here and describe the license details, okay? As we talked. Links and references. You can bring a link, for instance, for what you already have, for projects that went in the same direction you are willing to go, but they are from, I don't know, Web 2 or another reference that you are willing to do, your portfolio, for instance, of projects that you already developed in AI or other instances. So, but it's also optional, okay? If you have videos, here is a good place to share your videos. And if you are willing to make the community more sweet regarding your project, and therefore voting more for you and giving higher scores, you can be sharing revenue when you start to have. We have three actually templates. IP sharing, so you're going to give a percentage of the IP to the program. Remember, when I said we are not venture capital, we are not going to take shares of your company or nothing like that in exchange of funding. It's a grant program, but you can give it back. Okay, so 15% of the IP revenue I'm going to give back to the Deep Funding program and contributing with its growth. Okay, the same for token allocation. We are talking about Web3 here, so you can have token issue and distribute some for Deep Funding as well, right? API calls, we will onboard these services on the platform, so you can also bring revenue from the API calls that you are going to receive payments. You can also share with us, okay? So revenue per month. So if it cross that threshold, so I am already having $1,000 per month, so from now on I'm going to give a percentage of the revenue to share with the Deep Funding program, okay? So it can be $10,000, $100,000 of revenue a month, you decide, and say the percentage and the amount of years as well that you are willing to share, okay? So I'm going to put none here. And for the new projects, one particular project in the new projects pool can be multiple services, right? So here you are able to specify the services itself, and you can also be consuming services from the platform, or you can be onboarding services that you are going to sell, okay? So here it's new AI service or existing AI service, right? So these are two possibilities to be awarded, the requirements, basic requirement to for the new projects pool is that you are onboarding or consuming services in the platform. Purpose of the AI service, input, output, and so on. And then you can add more AI services into that. We are going to do that test here, test, oops, where is it? Test and test. Okay, and then you can add if is the case. You see, here you have finish later. Remember when I showed you at the home of your portfolio? You are going to be able to keep it there before sharing with the world until you have it properly done under your perspective, okay? So we are going to continue. That's the most interesting addition from our previous platform to the new one now that we developed it. Now you have, before we used to have to calculate all the milestones. So the max budget it's 150,000. So if one team goes there, they'd have to put at least 100, actually up to 150. Sometimes they missed the calculation and it was 200, and then it would go to the vote, not the vote, but to the flow, and people would be, okay, this is a nice one, and then the eligibility review would get and make the calculations, and it would be a problem, and then we would have to get back. Now it's all embedded, all the calculation that's needed, including the milestone 1. What's the milestone 1? It's a requirement that you have to have 25% of your funds, the total requirement, the total request, towards API calls and hosting. API calls, you can give it away to clients or prospects from your market, your targeted market audience, or you can also pay for hosting because the platform itself won't do that. So you can have AWS, Google, or wherever, and you can invoice the Deep Funding program as you receive these invoices from your provider. Okay, so the funding request remaining, if I asked 100,000, 25,000 is 25%. Therefore, for milestone 1, it's remaining 75,000. So you can see how this is going to help you here. The first milestone, test, the budget, let's put 75. The description, remember, be descriptive into it, but also be concise and describe it well for people to understand, for the review team understand what you are willing to deliver, and so on. Considering someone here doesn't know what's the difference between the description and the milestone and the deliverable. Milestone is what it is that you're thumbs up. Okay, you delivered what you promised. Now here is your payment for this particular milestone. Okay, we are paying following your deliverable, your delivery and approval, right? We are not paying beforehand for you to create your milestone, for you to execute and deliver your milestone. We pay afterwards upon your completion. Okay. So we could add here more and more and more and more milestones. A hint that I can say, a tip is do more milestones, then you are going to receive the payments in a way you can control, and also for review, it's going to be easier and quicker for you to receive, and also for people to understand what you are willing to do. And here, the team members. So we have to have those members here, right? that I mentioned. So they have to have their profile to be added here. It's not simply, but let's say if I say that Rafael at Gmail, it was on purpose, this arrow here, it's project. So email will not be displayed. So this is not an account you can invite to the team, right? So it's email will be sent after being submitted. So when you submitted an email, will be sent to this person for the person to well, discuss with you the possibilities of joining your team, right? And then we are at the draft mode, where you can finish later, or you can come here and submit. I won't submit now because we don't want to make too much waste in the, well, in the full page there, but you got the drill, right? The other pools, they do have this also this step-by-step process that you can follow, but they are going to be less complex, not complex, but less structured than what we saw here with a lot of minutia, right? I'm going to put here finish later. Here we go, and we are back with the project test here for being edited, right? I'm going to stop sharing now. Very important. If you are not from the community so far, I already said, but come here to the projects menu, go to awarded projects, and take a look. Read the projects that are here. Try to understand the why they thrive into this process, the description that they made, the line of thought and ideation that they got when they proposed it. This way, you are going to be doubting yourself and learning on how to thrive and have a good experience during the whole process. So this is very important, and I would say that it's primary to it, okay? To teach yourself on how to become awarded by following the steps of those that were awarded before. And talking about that, we have here, as I mentioned, let me stop sharing. We have here two very successful proposers, Kenrick and Ken, and I'm going to give them now the opportunity to talk to you, starting with Kenrick, that has a limit of time, right, Kenrick? And then we can discuss with Ken, or guys, if you prefer, you can discuss together as it was a panel or something like that. Feel free, okay? Thank you very much for being here and for supporting us and the community.
Thank you, Rafa. Wow, you probably need a second to breathe and take a sip of water. That was a lot.
Well, I only have 15 minutes, so how about if I go first today, and then I'm happy to talk with Ken. Ken and I talk frequently, but I have a hard stop at 5:00. And so in interest of that, I'll just take 10 minutes and then maybe 5 minutes for questions or comments or reflections. Yeah, so Deep Funding has been great. We're really excited to be a part of this effort. I have spent the second half of my career writing proposals. And the one thing I would say up front is you have to be prepared and for failure, because most of your proposals are going to fail. Even very good proposal writers, I think a typical win rate is around 10 to 25% of your proposals will actually get funding. And because of that and other things, you also need to prepare. You kind of have to think through your whole strategy and not just participating in Deep Fund, but what you're trying to accomplish as either an individual or as an organization. And you have to account for all the indirect time that's going to go into being successful in directly delivering what you promised. So another thing I would say up front is that in our own proposals, we budget both what we're expecting to get paid for our time on a project, and then we add to that some indirect time for our own internal meetings, for development of ideas to come forward, or work that you have to do after the proposal is delivered. So you have to budget both the direct and the indirect time. Otherwise, you're going to win your project and lose money. Because that is possible too. You can win projects and it costs you money rather than being actually helping you go forward. And then in terms of being successful in the writing process, I think like Rafael and Judith and others were saying, I think there's kind of three key elements. It really is critical to kind of know who your customer is, both in terms of the sponsor in this case. So you absolutely should have some conversations with the community members who are going to be voting on it, and members of SingularityNET team where you think there's some alignment with what you want to accomplish and what they're interested in. It's critical to get alignment with your sponsor. I'll say something up front. I have a great colleague in this space who does wonderful work. We've even partnered with him in proposals, and I've watched him for a year on public spaces lambast his sponsors over and over and over again, accusing them of losing his proposal. That doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. Win or lose, be thankful for your sponsors, accept their feedback, and learn from your losses. Accept that that's part of the process. Most of our, again, all of our proposals have lost at one point or another. And I have one we're working on now with Cardano that's lost twice. And this past time we got criticized severely for it. And we thanked those critics, and we set up a meeting with those critics, and we listened to them. And we are going to submit again, and we may very well lose again. But that's on us. That's not on our critics. But maybe another, so I also think that it's very, you can't always do this, but you kind of want to be progressing to having some kind of demonstration or early example in your proposal. Now, I wouldn't say that for the ideation project. So that's kind of the idea. The ideation projects are a way for you to get a little bit of funding to kind of put some kind of proof of principle together that you've got a good idea that can support a larger proposal in the new project. So when you submit to something like the new projects where you're asking for more funding, it's a good idea to have a little example already completed and some work to back up why you would be successful with the project. So for instance, the very first time we submitted to Deep Fund, we set up a meeting with the SingularityNET leadership, and we showed, Bill Thistleton and I, who's my scientific colleague, showed them that we'd been working together for a couple of decades, and all of that work had led to some pretty innovative ideas in machine learning. Now, not every team is going to have that, and no, not everyone's a graybeard like myself. But even if you're a young entrepreneur, part of what you want to be working to is having some simple examples that provide some proof that you can be successful. Last point, and then I'll open it up to some questions. I think a good project has at minimum 3 types of roles. Now, individuals can perform on more than one of these roles, but you have to kind of fill 3 core roles. One role is what we would refer to as the principal investigator, who has the creative scientific idea and has the ability to kind of mentor and guide people in that idea. And then they need an administrative person, like a program manager, who can be responsible for your milestone submissions, the budgets, making sure people get paid, and making sure that the project is executing on time. And maybe one last point, if your project isn't executing or something's gone wrong, don't swallow that. Talk to your sponsor and make some adjustments. I've seen very talented people in this community stay stuck because they can't finish their milestone. Well, that's not good for you or the sponsor. Change the milestone. Explain what you didn't understand when you wrote the proposal and write a better milestone and move it forward. Because it doesn't help you or the sponsor to stay stuck. And then a third role is oftentimes the PI and the program manager don't actually have the time to dig into one particular project. So it's a good idea to define someone who's going to put an extensive amount of time into the project and actually be the one executing to get things done. And not all, you may decide to do that yourself in some cases, but that's often a case where you can hire a younger engineer, scientist, and mentor them in the work, and they can you can afford to have them spend more time on the project. So those are some of the basics that go into shaping good projects and executing on them. And happy to take some questions, but I do have to jump off in a few minutes, unfortunately.
If I may, and thank you very much, Karen. Thank you very much for your, but could you also state, if you feel okay with, for the people to have the background and context, how many proposals have you managed to propose in deep funding?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, sure. I'll take a minute. So it takes time. So FOTREC is the little symbol there. I launched FOTREC in January 2020. I signed my first contract in March 2020. And if you remember, that's when COVID hit. And my first sponsor got ill and had to cancel the project. So there's lots of ups and downs in this process. So I then focused on working with Cardano. It took over a year to really get established with that community and win a project. And it was kind of 2 years of doing like between 2 to 4 projects a year, which isn't a lot and was kind of tough to get through. We incorporated a sociocratic organization a year ago that's really helped us strengthen as a team. So I haven't done the numbers yet, but I want to say that we did, like when I say sales, we actually finished milestones and got paid. I think in the first quarter of this year, we did as much sales as we did like in the last 2 years. So it was a lot of growth this year. So I think we've done with deep funding. We are now engaged in our 8th project with the deep funding teams, and we're really excited to be, a significant part of that. Another, growth area for us was not only have we won new projects with the Cardano Catalyst program, but we, as many of you know, we've been both a developer and a critic of bad governance. Input Output Global has hired us on one of their projects to help improve the Catalyst program. So that's quite exciting. You'll be hearing our first report is going to be coming out next week on that.
amazing. As you say, guys, that's why I told a successful story in grants, especially deep funding. Thank you very much, Kenrick. Well, if you have any question for Kenrick, guys, please.
Are you proposing in the current round, Kenrick?
Yes. We're still open to partnering with you, Ken, too. If you want to, Ken and I have been talking about doing some projects together because we have some overlapping interests. So yes, we now have a SingularityNET circle that includes about 5 members, and I'm now a guest to that circle rather than actually a member to it. And we have about 10 ideas that'll get narrowed down to about 5 proposals, supporting a variety of people that are working with us. And we don't, and as I said, if we don't win any of those, that's fine too, because there's a lot of other great members of the community that deserve awards.
Absolutely. Ale, please.
Yes. Well, hello, everyone. I am Ale. I'm the co-founder of NerdConf, this nerd conference that travels around the world. And I just wanted to say I'm a content creator for a long time now. It's been like 8 years, and I've been working on this like 5 years ago. But I know what it's like to try and fail and try and not get what you want. And it's really inspiring to hear Kenrick and his process throughout this this time with Cardano and these other players. So it's really good hearing that it's not only yourself that tries and maybe not get it, but anyways, you keep trying until you get it. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Nice, nice. And welcome to the community, Ale.
Yeah.
He is from Argentina too.
Yeah, I heard. That's great. Latam growing and growing. Very good. Actually, everywhere. Africa is also going huge steps. Asia, Latin, Europe, North America, and yeah, everywhere. It's amazing to know. India, yes, yes. Okay. Anyone else would like to take the opportunity and ask Kenrick questions about his process or perhaps the challenge? Or
I would just like to thank him.
Super. You're welcome. And before I jump off, I'll just say that I'm meeting with someone I met at the Beneficial AGI conference. That's why I have to jump off, and it's been a while trying to get the meeting set up. So networking is also very valuable. You have to keep networking and meeting new people. So that's part of the process too. And
very
I always
important.
enjoy Ken. Ken has great material. I wish I could stay, but I do have to jump off. Great to see you all.
Thank you, Kenrick.
Sure.
Good luck with your meeting.
Okay, take care.
I guess back to you, Judith.
Did you not say that Ken is coming on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, hi, Ken. Good to see you.
Hello, good to see you too, and good to see everyone in the community. And thank you for a few minutes to describe my experience with this. Now, I came into the SingularityNET community through Carbix Corp. Very shortly before round 1, he contacted me out of the blue to create a metaverse because they wanted to have a virtual equivalent to their carbon capture technology. So we created a demo with one scene of that, which takes place in a float glass facility. And then a few weeks or a month or so later, he wrote me up and said, hey, this entity called Deep Funding is creating a funding program. Now, in my background, had performed a number of different jobs or disciplines, including proposal writing at an artist-run facility in the 90s. So I had a bit of previous experience. We would, at that time, write proposals for purchase of equipment for our artist-run facility, which was focused on audio and video and site-specific installations. It was really a great time. So we had the opportunity and we had the great fortune to actually win it. When I proposed it, I put my best into it, as best I knew how. I didn't know anything at the time of SingularityNET community or the focus or what have you. I learned as I went. So we created this proposal and it was successful. And that provided a means for us to create and extend upon this virtual world for Carbix Corporation. And for me, it provided an opportunity to do what I'd been doing since the beginning of the pandemic. Around late 2019, early 2020, as the pandemic landed, I was let go from my work in Prague. So I decided that after 10 years of programming, I wanted to move back into visual creations of some sort. So I'd started creating metaverses or virtual reality worlds in Unity. And that provided me with a platform or, a library of examples I could show when it came time to do the SingularityNET proposal. I was able to say we have these avatars that I can put forward as previous experience and worlds that are the same thing. And the years of proposal writing in a nonprofit situation helped me to organize these aspects of the SingularityNET proposal. And Quincy himself at Carbix, who invited me to this, is obviously very strong on the business side of things. He used to be a former accountant. So we split the roles in that way. I took care of how we would do things. And Quincy took care of the scheduling and the costing out of the different milestones. And I think that's a partnership that worked very well. Now, of course, after doing layoffs and trying to work entrepreneurially, one's always looking for, okay, what is the next most sensible thing I should try to do? And SingularityNET provided a window for me to actually continue participating and contributing and putting these skills to work. So now in the present time, I've been fortunate enough after the Carbix round 1 to win an ideation project that deals with sciences and deals with visualization. And also a round 4 test project, which was amazing. I won a similar proposal to do visualization of flood mapping. And of course, flooding is very important to what's happening in Canada with relation to climate change. And that in itself patched back to previous work I had in the 2000s. I'm beginning to sound very ancient here, but in the 2000s, working with the Geological Survey. So somehow the SingularityNET proposals and their openness to a wide variety of ideas and solutions allowed me to combine these previous experiences into something that could be useful to the community as a whole. And I have to say it's the best sort of not job that I've ever had, because I get to deal with understanding more in these cases about sciences. I get to participate in some way through the development of AI and eventually AGI, which appeals to the science fiction side of me, fan. I get to work on visualizations, which appeals to the artistic side. And I have to thank the community for being open to someone who is not specifically a data scientist or an artificial intelligence scientist. With the immense amount of work that they need to go through for these proposals and maintaining them, they somehow made room for someone coming in from an oblique vector into the world of SingularityNET and then participate, not only in a way that helps me progress and move forward in terms of funding, in terms of learning how to write a proposal, but also in terms of doing something hopefully concrete and real in the development of AI, and to advocate in other aspects that are important to me and to participate as well. It's a terrific opportunity. Now, in terms of doing the projects itself, I'm working with a portal. The old portal, as it was mentioned, I would have to write it out in Google Doc, then copy paste it into the old portal. That would sometimes be lost, so I'd have to go back and then copy paste again. Editing was very slow because that platform, which was not created by SingularityNET, would seem to try and do saves every single character. So the new portal allows me to go through. It was a completely smooth experience. I didn't lose any work. The parameters were well established in terms of what the teams evaluating could handle. In terms of, okay, this should be less complex, this should be more complex. These are how many characters you have for the summary. And these are how much you can put into a long summary so people can both benefit from immediately recognizing the proposal through an image and through a summary and delving deeper into it. Now, the other thing I appreciated, being a little bit math challenged, was the automatic calculation of the 25%, because I would write to SingularityNet saying, okay, do I calculate this from the total amount minus the 25% or plus the 25% as a whole? And this removes all of that confusion and allows me to focus on the proposal itself. So in terms of what makes it successful, and I apologize to the SingularityNet team. I kind of created a lot of proposals for round 3 and round 4 beta, especially because I wasn't quite sure what I should be doing in terms of positioning it. Should I focus on a smaller budget, or should I create a large omnibus project and see what flies there? And I was fortunate enough to have one of these selected. So I'm trying to learn a bit from Kenrick and seeing that he has smaller proposals around 40, 50,000. But our first proposal in round 1 was 150,000. So especially as a very small team or an individual team, how do you begin to understand the dynamics of the voting process? Because as Rafael mentioned, there's a scoring component in terms of how people rated your project on a level from 1 to 10. And then there's also where you end up in terms of the line of funding proposals that have a slightly stronger value assigned to it, and who may request a certain amount of the funding to begin with. So if one asks a lot of funding, then the proposal needs to be very, very strong with a strong team, services, and idea. Because if someone is ahead of you and wins 150,000 and yours is 40,000, and there's only 30,000 left, then you may miss that opportunity. So trying to balance it is a lot like balancing this fidget spinner, and where you need to try and figure out what is the best chance. So the approach I took was to create a series of different proposals with different ranges, both so I could manage risk and both so I could understand the dynamics of the process better. Now, in terms of presentation, what I found was most enjoyable and seemed to be most successful was to show a personal connection to the project that's being proposed. For flood mapping, that has to do with how climate change has affected flooding of rivers and coastlines in Canada, and my experience in Prague in 2013 of their flooding event. Previous experience, having worked with geological scientists, gave me a bit of a grounding in how mapping works and how map data can be imported. Working with creating a wide variety of Unity projects before all of this in the 2 years previous gave me some experience to be able to articulate how this could be done. And then certainly most of all, the support and the feedback from SingularityNet teams themselves. I'm able to ask questions and receive advice that is neutral and balanced in its behavior and helps kind of orientate me in the right direction. So for someone like myself who's trying to find a new means and a footing, the process of proposing and the process of participating in the SingularityNet community is giving back a great deal, probably more than I'm putting in, so I'll try to put in more. But it's become a place where I can put artistic, scientific, technical, and almost philosophical ideas out there and see what the response is. So that's gone very well. If you're a new proposer and you want to jump in, I'd say go for it. Ask for advice. The guidelines are now much easier to follow with the new portal, and the community itself is very welcoming and very supportive. So that's what I have right now. If I stop talking for a moment, I might have a new idea filter into my brain. So thank you.
Thank you, Ken. That was really helpful. I'm gonna ask in the room first if there's any questions. If not, I do have a question. But let's check in the room. Is there anyone that has a question for Ken? Yes. Go ahead, Ale.
Ale. Hello, Ken. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. I really like the fidget spinner part. I was gonna ask about, you said you proposed, you did a lot of proposals and you had a lot of personal connections to the proposals, but I wanted to ask if the proposals, because I did not understand, were about the same project, let's say, and they were like different in how you how you did a presentation about it, or if you presented different things or slightly different things about different projects. Because I did not understand that part very well. I understand the amount of the funding you were looking for, but I did not understand the other part. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's a terrific question, and I'm glad you asked it. In this case, what I did was select from a series of areas that I wanted to focus on. One might be AI, one might be a partially creative project and partially advocating for a particular group, in my case, autism. Another would be marketing. So the proposals were very different from one another. They weren't really related from one another. And that, in a sense, was also for me to try and understand what might be most appealing to the community as well. And I think that there's a bit of naturally a priority placed on a combination of science and AI. There's a strong focus as well on community service through other proposers' programs that I've seen succeed. And of course, being AI, it's also a very highly technical endeavor to begin with. And I think SingularityNET makes more room for cultural projects and projects with kind of a personal connection or a non-technical focus more readily than what I've heard of Cardano, which I have no direct experience with. Now, I've noticed as well in this round, there's a new miscellaneous category. And that's wonderful to see because it's an experimental area, almost in a way, something that might not be specifically for development of an AI service, or it might be something that's atypical of previous proposals. And so I think the SingularityNET community requires applause for experimentation and openness to try these ideas, which we can participate in through the regular town halls as well. So to answer your question more specifically, there were all different projects and a range of budgets and a range of focuses. Some were more technical and most of them were had a strong creative component.
Anybody else in the room that has a question for Ken? If not, I'm gonna go ahead. And my question is,
Okay.
So Rafael, Kenrick, and you have all mentioned how important it is to engage with the community.
Mhm.
I was wondering if you can give a little bit of, maybe a few tips for people that are completely new to the SingularityNET community on where you engage and how you engage.
Okay. I recommend that newcomers participate, first of all, certainly on Discord and Mattermost. Take the opportunity to attend and even listen to town halls. And there are other more specific channels as well in terms of other governance questions. And there's also an ambassadorial channel. In fact, there are quite a few channels, and I've only begun to investigate 3 or 4 of them myself. And in fact, there are 15. So to participate, try to prioritize the town halls. In terms of your ideas, certainly feel free to put them forward because people in this community are very open to listening to these ideas and responding to them. And in fact, it thrives on it. And I'd also recommend, of course, teamwork as well. If you're part of a team, you'll make many new connections. And the best way to do that is through Discord and through these meetings themselves. And it's always an increasing requirement or need or opportunity to eventually help work on the circles to evaluate proposals for their applicability to the program itself. So as your experience grows, you'll be able to put in more and more, and there's room for that.
Thank you. So true. Also, for anyone that is new, we do have eventually the Spotlight Day coming up where we're gonna invite all proposers to present their proposal. And I really encourage everyone to take part in that, although I know a lot of people do not like being on camera, they do not like presenting, they do not like hosting a breakout room, but I would really encourage you that for any town halls, any breakout rooms, or for Spotlight Day, that you try and present your project and also introduce yourself as much as you can. It is really, really helpful for the community to see your name and your project as much as possible. And in terms of Discord, we do have an extra channel that's called Deep Funding, and there's also a subsection that's called Proposals. So you can also post your proposal in the SingularityNET Discord. And let me share the link for anyone that's not part yet. This is the SingularityNET Discord, and you'll see the Deep Funding section in there and the proposal section. So please share your proposal in there and introduce yourself. And then obviously we have the Deep Funding Telegram group, which is also a fantastic place to introduce yourself. All right.
Yes, be visible, right? That's the best thing. Besides a good proposal, it should be visible and tell people what you are doing exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing the channels.
Trust. It immediately builds trust. I mean, the more you see someone and the more you can associate a face to a proposal. I mean, it is so important.
And by the way, if I some people are asking me about the well, some sort of good practices, which is the purpose of this town hall today, and etc. guidelines. So I'm going to develop this material, and it's going to be available in our portal or website as well. So you can go there next week and check when you are submitting and take a look at everything that we are suggesting, right, for you to be successful.
And actually, Rafael, so funny what you said in the beginning, that the picture of the proposal, like the proposal picture on the platform that you're going to choose, is kind of important. I find it extremely important. Like from my own experience, when I scroll through the portal, I'm immediately drawn to the one with the nicest design. Most people are visual people, so please do not take it lightly and choose your proposal cover image, so to say, wisely. I would probably custom make it, and I would probably put some extra effort and custom make it and put some text overlay or something.
The more the merrier, right? So sometimes you have thoughts about everything, but then you give 1% of your time to the illustration, and that's what most of people in that round would be, because we have so many, and then they are just picking the image. I mentioned the summary. Perhaps in a higher level, we are even talking about the image, right? That it's going to catch the attention of the voters. So you have to cover all the bases, definitely to have possibility of being awarded.
Yes, I've seen cover images that were completely disconnected from the proposal content, and it really doesn't help.
Yeah, and just to give you guys one statistics as now, we have about 30 proposals in this preparation moment around, okay? It's not specific, but we started on Monday, so Thursday, so we have 4 days, and we already have 30 people going there and trying and checking. So jump in as early as you can for 2 reasons. First, because then you are going to be more, you're going to have more time of exposure to receive feedback from the community, and for people to understand your proposal while it still has fewer, but also because our eligibility review team, which is a subset of our review circle, they are going to be checking and assessing your proposals while you are submitting, and checking if you have some issue with eligibility requirements. Then they are going to get back to you. The coordinators of such circle will get back to you and say, hey, we detected this and this problem. So if you don't solve that, you're not going to go to the next phase. If you wait to the last day, for instance, to submit, probably you won't have this type of this level of assessment and feedback. We are not doing this as a requirement for us, okay? The ultimate responsibility of proposing and doing the proposal in the right way is of the proposer. We are doing this as a courtesy, so we are going there, taking the time, reading what you're writing, submitting, and giving you some coach and guidance in how to do the right way. Okay, so if you take too long to submit, this type of feedbacks, if it's happening, will take time. Okay, so I suggest to all of you, start now, as soon as you can, to submit your proposals.
I think Ale is trying to say something.
I have a question. So if I submit maybe tomorrow or maybe Saturday, because I already have almost all the things that I need to submit. But if I submit, then the committee or like the people around it, the circle, can give me feedback. But when I submit, not before, not like the craft in the craft of the proposal, right?
Okay, good question, Ali. So we have two levels, as you can say, two levels of reviews. Okay, one is the eligibility review. It's a yes or no for the features or the parameters that you have in your proposal. Let's say you are willing to propose in marketing, and then you, for some mistake, you go and propose in RFP, your project. So it's a requirement to propose in the right pool, right? So if you go this way, you are not going to pass through the filtering to the voting phase. The eligibility review team will say, no, you are not allowed to. However, if you propose before, long time before, the same eligibility reviewers will check your proposal and say, this proposer here, it's not in the right pool. So they are going to contact you as a courtesy, again, as a courtesy, and say, you are not proposing in the right pool. Please, if you want to go to the voting phase, you are going to need to change your pool, the pool you are proposing. And that's for the, and this also is the same for other parameters on eligibility review, okay? The second situation, they are not going to, for instance, it's optional for you to put an illustration. They are not going to tell you, oh, you don't have a good illustration as a cover for your proposal, right? This is not a requirement. A second level, and they are going to do this after you submit, okay? You are going to submit, and after 3 weeks, they are going to give, during the review period, they are going to give the final word. It's a yes or no for you to pass to the vote phase. A second review that's going to happen, it's an assessment, actually a quality assessment. It's going to come from another group, which is the community experts. This community expert group is formed by previous awarded members, like Ken, Kenrick. I can't say if they are going to be there, but like them. And also contributors from the previous rounds. Contributors are those members of the community that goes in proposals and comment and do a good comment because it improved the proposal to reach the vote phase or to reach the awarded the award. Okay. Then we are going to have this group of people getting all the proposals after the submission period. You can't change anymore, okay? And they are going to say, this proposal is very good because of this, this, and this. I also put it here in the chat, the 4 parameters that this eligibility reviewers, the community experts are going to be attent, will take a look in your proposal, which is feasibility, viability, desirability, and usefulness. We have the description here as well. So feasibility is the confidence level that the project is possible at all. That means if, okay, it's an amazing project, but it's it's not possible to deliver this type of thing and with this amount of money and so on, right? The viability one and technical issues as well that might be, okay, we want to change the word, but how? The viability one is the confidence in a successful outcome, considering team, time, and budget. The same, right? So you have things that are going to be a constraint on your dream to deliver this service or project. The desirability, it's the market fit. Remember when I said we are going to go to a marketplace platform. So you have to have those that are going to buy your service. Otherwise, it won't make sense for us to fund. This is desirability. So the market, how the market will perceive your project. And usefulness. To what extent will it help the AI platform growth? So it's aligned with what we desire. It's aligned with the decentralization of artificial intelligence to the AGI itself. So that's the type of situations that are going to be assessed by this second group of experts reviewing. Okay, so wrapping up the answer. First, you will only be able to submit from next Monday, okay, the 29th, right? What you can do now is to go there and write your proposal, and it's not going to be online, okay? But you can start doing, you said you have already almost everything, so bring it on, bring everything, put in the portal, create your profile and so on. After the 29, you can submit and everybody is going to see your proposal. Then people will start to talk about it, share, and so on. And also this first group, eligibility reviewers, are going to go there and say, okay, it attends everything. But for instance, one situation, they go there, see, okay, it's nice, no problem. It's going to the vote phase. Then in the last day, you go there and change something. They are not going to, potentially, if they see, they can go there and say, hey, change back. If they don't, again, it's a courtesy, okay? It's not our obligation to do that. So you have to be very aligned in understanding the rules that you are subjected to, okay? Third part is they are going to give the final yes or no. Those that are yes, this expert review group, community experts will give this quality assessment. We are going to give a stamp of recommend for the whole community and ecosystem to see and potentially receive more votes. It's not something that it might, some projects that didn't have the recommendation from us also were awarded in previous rounds, okay? So it's not something that, oh, if I don't have the recommendation from Deep Funding, I have zero chance. No, it's not like that. Okay. Thank you for your.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafa. Anybody else in the room having questions? We have about 4 minutes left. If not, Jan, do you have anything to add? Do you have any secret tips for our future proposers?
This is a great meeting so far. Compliments to everybody, to Rafael going through the portal, really well done. And also very, very good to hear from Ken and Kenrick, what's in the name, to hear things from their perspective. You see here two people who have been very successful in deep funding and who have benefited from deep funding, and deep funding is benefiting from them. So that's what this is all about. So it's great to have these stories out here firsthand. I would like to add one more thing to the whole discourse here. And those are the main goals of deep funding. So we have this pool miscellaneous, but there are still a few conditions. So first of all, any project in deep funding has to align to the mission and vision of SingularityNET, meaning that we are here to create a beneficial artificial general intelligence to the benefit of everybody. So your project shouldn't be unethical. Let's put it like that. The other thing is that everything we do in some way has to help the AI platform grow. And it could be a marketing project, it could be a tool, or in many cases it would be an AI service or a solution that uses an AI service. But all of these things will help our AI platform grow. In the future, we might add OpenCog Hyperon to that mix, but this is as it is right now. Yeah, and the third goal of deep funding in itself, but that also goes back to me and Rafael and everybody who's involved, is develop create a community of builders. So that's also something we are trying to do, and that is about all of you, and that is also about this call. You had a peek into it, so we're trying to help each other. The review team, review circle that Rafael is telling about, our community members, and these community members are here to help you, to guide you, make a good proposal. The community experts, same. They are trying to help you, and they are trying to help the program to make the outcome as good as possible. They will also talk together about all the projects that they are reviewing. So it's also a kind of connection and networking thing. So yeah, that's all I needed to add, because everything else was said in this meeting. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will like our portal. And I hope we will see you there in the coming days, creating something great.
Yes, and please, every time you have feedback about the process or the platform, please always let us know. We're trying to improve with every round and trying to add new features and just improving the process. So the easiest way to do that is to hear from you, obviously. All right, we have 0 seconds left. It's 9:30 my time. It is past, wherever you are. Any last questions? No? Well, okay. Then thank you for attending, everybody. This was great. So much valuable information. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Kenrick. Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Jan. And the next town hall will be next week, same time at 18 UTC. We do not have the topic set yet. If there's something you would like to talk about, please reach out via any of the social media channels or to us directly. Yes, that's about it. Have a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. And hopefully we'll see you next week, and good luck with your proposal writing process. Really looking forward to reading all of your proposals.
Thank you, Judith.
Right.
Thank you, Judith.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye
bye.
now.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. See you next time.
See ya.